Let's set up eye tracking for Nintendo Switch with Mill Mouse. Here's what you will need. A PC running Windows and an eye tracker compatible with Mill Mouse. I will link to the compatibility list in the video description. Then you're gonna need a Titan 1 adapter. You will also need an HDMI capture card to be able to view the Nintendo Switch content on your PC monitor. On the software side, you need to install Mill Mouse and also the Gtuner Pro software for Titan 1. You will also need an HDMI capture software. We're gonna use Splitcam since it's very simple, but OBS Studio that is a bit more advanced is an alternative if for any reason your HDMI capture card doesn't play well with Splitcam. Next step is to know how to connect everything. The easiest way is to have your Nintendo Switch in the dock so we have good access to USB and HDMI ports. The Titan 1 gets plugged into the Switch dock USB port, and with a cable provided in the box you connect it to your PC USB port. The HDMI capture card on the other hand gets plugged into your PC and you route an HDMI cable from the Nintendo Switch to this adapter. Of course your PC is connected to your monitor with another HDMI cable if it's not a laptop or tablet, and the eye tracker is connected with its USB cable to the PC. Before we begin setting up the needed software, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell icon. That would mean a lot. First we will download and install Mill Mouse. Search for it or just click the link in the video description. Click where it says download and wait for it to finish. Then open the zip file you downloaded and then you're gonna extract it. Then double-click on the unzipped folder and then double-click on the installation file named Mill Mouse. You may get a warning, but just click more info and then click run anyway. If you get any more warnings, just click yes to continue. When the installation window pops up, click next, and in the next window you can tick the box that says automatically start Mill Mouse if you want the software to start when you start the computer. Click next and then install. Wait for the installation to complete. Click finish. Now we don't need the zip file and the unzipped installer, so we can go ahead and delete them if we want. Now we have Mill Mouse installed on our computer. We will return to how to set up a Mill Mouse profile to work with the Titan 1 later in the video. Now let's download and install Gtuner Pro. You'll find the link to the software in the video description. Make sure you find the Gtuner Pro software under Titan 1 and click download. Wait for the download to finish and then open the zip file. Extract it and then place the extracted folder anywhere you like. Now make sure the Titan 1 is connected to your PC with its cable. Go into the folder and run the Gtuner software. Go into Tools and click Options. In the new window, go to the Device tab and under Output Protocol make sure Automatic is selected. Now click OK and close down the software. You should not need to touch this software anymore. This is a one-time step. Before we download and set up the HDMI capture software, let us create a Mill Mouse profile that lets us control the Nintendo Switch. It's important that the Gtuner software is closed, otherwise Mill Mouse is not going to see the Titan 1 adapter. First time you launch Mill Mouse, it's gonna look a bit different since you're gonna customize it later on. But that's not important right now. So let me show you how to create a profile that's gonna interact with the Titan 1 and Nintendo Switch. You're gonna go into the settings and under the profile tab you can create a new one or copy existing one and edit that one.
I have prepared a profile that I can switch to and begin to edit. Go into the Shortcuts tab. Press the little plus sign to create a new shortcut. A new window pops up. Here you can give the shortcut a name and in the drop-down menu called Type, choose Titan 1. New items appear. In the drop-down menu called Axis/button you can choose what gamepad button or analog inputs it should activate, like the A button or the X button. You can choose joystick movements or analog triggers. If you select any of the joysticks or the analog triggers you will get a slider where you can select how many % you want to actuate it. It's either 0 to 100% or 0 to -100% depending on the direction. I tend to set it at 100%, but set the right stick to a bit lower for smoother camera movements. In the drop-down menu called Action, we can decide how the button or axis should be pressed. Do we want it to press once quickly? Should it keep the button pressed for as long as we look at it, or should we toggle it on and off by looking at it? I've never used the press once function. I do momentary hold or toggle. To do one of the other you select hold down the Axis/button. If you check both boxes below it you will get momentary action. I mean it will hold the button as long as you look at the shortcut. For a toggle action you untick the lower box. There's also a new turbo function called press Axis/button repeatedly. If both boxes underneath it are ticked, it will mash the button as long as you look at the shortcut, and if you untick the lower box, it will toggle on and off this behavior each time you look at the shortcut. This is great in, for example, fighting games. Now let's set this to left stick in the left direction at 100%. Before we go on, let's go to the View tab and tick the box that says Always Show as Transparent. We want the shortcut to be transparent. Then go into the Speed tab. Here we can choose how quick it should respond to our gaze. I choose Custom and draw the slider all the way to the right for immediate response. Now press OK. Congratulations, you have just created your first shortcut. To do the next one, make sure that the shortcut you just created is highlighted in the left column and then press the little copy sign down on the left side. You can give it a name right away or do that in the Edit menu, which we bring up by pressing the little edit sign. Let's change it to left stick in the right direction and make sure we set it at 100%. Now press OK. Let's copy again and create one for left stick forward direction at 100%. And here we untick the lower box to make it a toggle. I like to toggle forward movement on, and then I can steer left or right, do jumps or attack while walking forward. I stop by looking at this shortcut again. Now press OK. Here I've created shortcuts for all 4 directions with the left stick. We have many more shortcuts to go, but let's start placing these few shortcuts out and resize them so we get a feel for how it will look. Make sure the topmost shortcut we created is highlighted in the left column, and then roll all the way to the bottom in the right column and select the item that says None Right under the separate Windows headline. Then start clicking the right arrow in between the columns, 4 times in this case. Now they've appeared on screen, and we can drag them around and resize them. Now that this is done, I will proceed with creating shortcuts for all buttons and axes I need, the same way I just showed you. Here I've created all the shortcuts and placed them out on the screen. But let's do something different with the Start button. Let's move it into the middle mouse bar by highlighting it and pressing the up arrow far to the right until it is outside of the separate Windows headline. You can also just drag it. See, now it's tucked away in the middle mouse bar. Now if we go into the Window tab, we can select where the middle mouse bar should reside. Let's move it to top center. Here we can also set the transparency of the shortcuts from 0 to almost completely transparent. We can also change the color. I think it looks best and most discreet when it's black. It's worth noting that middle mouse support more input methods than eye tracking. Voice commands, for example, and you can also bind keyboard keys to Titan 1 actions. Very useful if you have a USB or Bluetooth switch interface that you can plug assistive switches into. With support for switches, this becomes almost like the Xbox Adaptive Controller or the HoriFlex for Nintendo Switch. For voice commands, I'd recommend an external mic you can have closer to your mouth. To set up additional inputs, go into the Input tab, and for voice commands, tick the box that says click when you speak into the microphone, and then click the little cog wheel to the right of it. A new window pops up, and here you tick the box called Use Voice Commands, and then press the plus sign to create a new voice command. Here you enter a phrase and then select Titan 1 in the drop-down menu called Action. Then you choose which axis / button, and you can choose between press the axis / button or hold down the axis / button. If you select hold, you also get the option to set a timer, so it holds the button a specific amount of time. Press OK. Note that you can copy and edit voice commands just like with shortcuts. Press Apply and OK. Middle mouse also supports eye blinks and facial expressions, but I won't go into that in this tutorial. To bind keyboard keys to axes and buttons so you can use a switch interface, go into the Keyboard tab and tick the box with the long sentence that starts with, press the axis / buttons on the game controller when. Highlight the key you want and press the pen icon. In the new window, select Titan 1 and the axis / button you want to bind it to. Press OK. Now you have switches in addition to the voice commands and shortcuts. Your profile for playing Nintendo Switch games is ready. If the Titan 1 is connected to the Switch, it will start to respond. But hang on, how are we gonna see what's happening when we control the shortcuts? We need the console content displayed on our computer and with the middle mouse shortcuts overlay on top. That's where the HDMI capture card comes in, but it needs a software to display what's being captured. Most people recommend OBS Studio, and that's a great piece of software. But it's easy to get overwhelmed by all the features that are not related to what we're focusing on. Lately I found a software called Splitcam, and it was incredibly easy to set up, so let's download that. Link is in the description. When it's downloaded and you open the file, it runs an installer, and as usual it's mostly about clicking next and confirming everything. First time you open Splitcam, you're presented with a wizard that makes setup really easy. Just make sure the HDMI capture card is connected and the HDMI cable from the Nintendo Switch is also connected and awake so we can confirm right away that we have a picture. I turned the Nintendo Switch on later and was confused why the screen was black for most of the wizard. For usage scenario, choose just recording, and under preferred parameters choose 1080 by 1920 and 60 frames per second. We're not getting more out of the Nintendo Switch. Press the blue continue button, and in the next screen make sure to find and select your USB HDMI capture card both for video in the left side and audio on the right. Press continue. It will do some kind of test, so in the meantime, I will switch to my Nintendo Switch profile in Mill Mouse. Click continue and click continue again. Now I turned on the Nintendo Switch and got a display. To get audio, you need to Control plus click the audio symbol. It took some time for me to figure out. To get a full screen view, you got to minimize Splitcam, and then you get a floating window, and in the top right corner, if you hover the mouse, a square will appear, and click that to get full screen. You might need to click it twice or more. It can be stubborn, but it will work. Here we have Mario plus Rabbids running, a really cool game that I will post a longer gameplay video of soon. So finally, my friend, you have set up eye tracking on Nintendo Switch with Mill Mouse and the Titan 1 adapter. We need an applause here. The cool thing with this is that this profile works also for modern PlayStation and Xbox, as well as the older PS3 and Xbox 360. You might need to change from automatic to the specific console in the Gtuner software, but that should be it. Note that modern PlayStation and Xbox have a wireless option with Remote Play. I've done a video with PS5 Remote Play and Mill Mouse earlier if you want to check this out. Potentially even older consoles could work with the right adapter. I'm really eager to try this out with my old Nintendo GameCube that I haven't been able to play for more than 2 decades. So look out for more eye tracking gaming here on this channel. Really hope this tutorial has been helpful, and I see you in the next one.